Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a Switch/gaming video, a my 2 cent video for this week, where I take a look at some of the stories that have come out and give you my thoughts and my opinion about them. So we got about 3 stories that came out this week, including one that's non-gaming related, but more movie related as well, but it has something to do. It's sort of connected with the story I will talk about when I get to part 3 though. So we get started with the first one, and the first one is basically earlier this week Nintendo had their Direct. This one focusing on their next big release supposedly, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And this is one of the games I am definitely looking forward and waiting to try out for myself. From a post on the site heavy.com, again, links are in the description of this video. It recaps some details for those who may have not did not see the Direct though. Let's see if I can look it up. Though that's my phone. All right, we got some information about the gameplay. In addition to what we learned from the Nintendo Direct in September, we learned that, and these are some of the areas about the gameplay. We learned that blades, which are basically, I believe those are the weapons and companions, have effects outside of battle, such as revealing items and new paths. Blades have different elements, effects, and weapon types. Aurx cores, or AUX, increase the status of blades when equipped, and core chips upgrades weapons while changing their appearance. Accessories can boost the status of drivers in the same way. The core scan for blades. Every blade has an affirmative chart, a skill tree that increases and adds, and blades get to know their drivers. Drivers can increase their affirmative with blades by going to the Heart and Hearth locations, a staple within the Xenoblade series though. On the map, drivers' skills and arts can be upgraded via experience points. Unwanted blades can be dispatched on their own mission in mercenary groups to acquire experience points, golds, and items. Increase affirmative with the mercenary blades. Players acquire items in parties, members' pouch that greatly boost their status. Let's see, anything else? Let's see, anything about... we know that the blades will use the arts form, which is... The arts are very common, that has been used based on, the past Xenoblade Chronicles series. It looks as though it will follow at least based on what I've seen from the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Direct, it looks like there will be some differences though, but it seems though it will still follow the same approach that past Xenoblade Chronicles series has done, which is basically your character attacks automatically, and you have different arts, and you pick those arts though. There's a bit of a cooldown period though, so it does feel like it. In other words, it feels like it's going to be more the same from what we got from Xenoblade and Xenoblade Chronicle X, and some new stuff as well. So obviously they're making some changes as well. Oops, wrong one. Let me click that one though. We also got some more information, as now it appears as though there will be sort of a special. Let's see if I can look it up. We also know that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild will be getting basically a quest. This is for the Switch and for the Wii U version, in which you could get the item that I think Rex wears in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, so there'll be a quest for that. On top of that, there's an expansion pass or season pass for the game that retails shortly as suggested as the price of $29.99, $30 to be exact. With this pass, players can enjoy DLCs that are released between launch of the game and fall 2018. From what they have shown, the next month, for those who pre-order the season pass, though, you'll get items for your journey that will come out. January 2018 will have a new quest for the main game. Spring 2018 will have new rare blades. Summer 2018, new challenge battle modes. And finally, the last DLC, Autumn 2018, will have a brand new story and adventure mode, though. Putting aside the season pass for a minute, though, I have to say I am definitely looking forward to this one, though, alright? I'm not a huge RPG fan, but I have started to grow into the series over the year, and Xenoblade Chronicles sort of holds a place in my heart. It was one of the first games, you know, from the Operation Rainfall that came out, you know, when Nintendo wasn't going to bring this series over and all, and then somehow they changed their mind, which to me that was a good thing. In fact, I still have high regards to the first one. Xenoblade Chronicle X, some hit and miss in some areas though. I still enjoyed the game though. There were some areas I wasn't a big fan of, especially with the gamepad and all on the Wii U though. I'm hope that game does get a remake and does come to the Nintendo Switch as well. So, as far as my big criticism about the game though, I'm a little iffy about the art style though. I'm not saying it looks bad, but it just it certainly looks different from what the first and second ones though. And from what I understand and from what I read, they are aiming for more like a Japanese anime style, which may or may not appeal to everyone though. But overall, based on what I've seen from the Direct though, I'm still looking forward for this one. I'm looking forward to trying this out though. Hopefully it does well. I believe it comes out December 1st, though. Let me double check just to make sure of that. I believe the game... Oh yeah, the game will be released on December 1st, 2017. So, but overall, I have to say, based on what I've seen with the Direct, though, I am excited for the game. I'm looking forward to trying it out myself, though. If you've missed the Direct, I'll have a link in the description. You can check that out, but... it's gonna basically end the Switch with a bang for 2017 though. It'll be interesting to see how 2018 plays out for the Nintendo Switch, but definitely one I'll be looking forward to trying out when that comes out. Alright, we're going to take a bit of a break, and when we come back, I'm going to be talking about the game Doom, Skyrim, and L.A. Noire coming out for the Nintendo Switch, and my thought about these games coming out for this week though. So we'll take a bit of a break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video, and for this one, I want to talk about a couple of games that are coming out one for this week and 2 for next week. The first one, of course, is basically I'm talking about Skyrim, L.A. Noire, and the one that came out this week so far, and I picked up, Doom for the Nintendo Switch that has come out. I will say I have played the game for a little bit though, and I am actually very impressed that they were able to pull this off on the Nintendo Switch. It just blows my mind that Panic Button was able to do this. It is just unbelievable in so many ways. This is going to be a very interesting week, this week and next week, because of these titles coming out, because this is going to mark the first time that we have an M-rated game, at least on the Nintendo Switch, though. And it's going to be interesting to see how well fans react to it, though. Are fans going to open their wallets to this release? Are they going to like these games? Are they not going to like these games, though? Personally, for me, I want these games to succeed, though. I'm aware that some of these are ports, though. I mean, after all, Skyrim and L.A. Noire were released back in 2011, originally for the PS3 and 360, though. Doom is a port of the 2016 Doom that came out on PS4 and Xbox One and PC. So, yes, they are ports, though. And another concern I have, to a certain degree, is the fact that these titles are also being released kind of close to each other, and I can't help but feel to some extent that I get that sort of Titanfall 2 vibe, where EA and all of its wisdom decided to release Titanfall 2 right next to Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And while Infinite Warfare deserves its share of criticisms, and it did, out of all three of those, Titanfall 2 is the one that suffered the most, though. And so I am a little worried about that kind of situation could emerge with basically Doom, Skyrim, and L.A. Noire. On the other hand, however, and some folks have pointed this out to me, is that they're not exactly the same titles in the way Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, and L.A. Noire, Titanfall 2 and Infinite Warfare were, is that each are three different titles, or three different separate types. It's a title. Doom, for example, is a fast-paced first-person shooter, not a cover-based type of first-person shooter. Skyrim is an action RPG, and L.A. Noire is sort of an open world, more story-driven, as it's basically you're a cop in Los Angeles during the post-World War II in the late 1940s. So each one of them have their different take, but it's going to be very interesting to see sales-wise how well these titles do and whether or not they succeed or not. I mean, after all, recently Ubisoft and 2K have announced some of their financial earnings, and they're pretty happy with their results. Ubisoft recently said that 19% of sales numbers have come from the Nintendo Switch, thanks to the success of some of their titles, such as Rayman Legends Definitive Edition. I believe Just Dance may have played a part, but I think the big one, of course, was Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And even Take-Two with NBA 2K, despite some controversies over, the file sizes and the amount of storage you need for the system and all, they said that did well. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come, though. And hopefully Bethesda can have that same kind of success, and that Doom and Skyrim does well. And same thing with Rockstar, because I do think they're going to be looking at those titles to see how well they do. And depending on how well they sell, and also depends on how high they set their expectations, it's possible that Bethesda could stick around and support the Switch even more. We know that Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, is coming, but beyond that, we don't know if they have anything else in the books, or if they're just waiting to see how well Doom, Skyrim, and Wolfenstein New Colossus does. Same with Rockstar. We know L.A. Noire is coming, but it will be interesting to see if they look at this and see if they're going to bring Grand Theft Auto 5 over to the Switch. Although there are rumors kind of going around saying that it's in development, though it's not 100% confirmed, so we don't know yet. But I would definitely would like to see it, though. Overall, it's going to be a big week for the Nintendo Switch, with these three big M-rated games, though, and it will be very interesting to see how well they sell on the Nintendo Switch, because this would somewhat give us a good idea if we will see more support or more M-rated games on the Nintendo Switch, which personally I would be open to seeing more of this, though. I mean, nothing wrong with having family-friendly titles on the Nintendo Switch or anything like that, but there's nothing wrong bringing in ultra-violent games like Doom, or say something risque, or something like say Bayonetta was, or the game Galgun was. So overall, it's going to be an interesting this week and next week, and it'll be interesting to see how well these games do. My fingers are crossed, and hopefully it does well enough that it convinced Rockstar and Bethesda to still stick around for the Nintendo Switch. Okay, we're going to take a bit of a break, and when we come back, we'll get to our third and final story, and that is we'll be talking about the end of the Miiverse, and in a non-related gaming part, we're also going to be talking about quite possibly the end of Universal's Dark Universe, though. So, take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our third and final part of this My 2 Cent video for this week. And for this one, we got a bit of a sad news. One is gaming related, and the other one is sort of a movie related, depending on your view on that one, though. So the first one we want to talk about is that as of this week, though, Miiverse is no more. For those who are unfamiliar with it, although I'm sure you are, Miiverse was this online social post where basically you can, when you play a certain part of the game, you hit the home button on your Wii U gamepad. You could take that snapshot, post it on several different Miiverse channels, or I should say, post your actions on Miiverse and sort of write a caption right next to it, like if you did something in Super Mario 3D World, we'll go into the Super Mario 3D World channel. It was a neat idea, and it was an interesting way for people to interact. Sometimes people will write funny stuff, though. But at the same time, Miiverse had its share of criticism as well. Some of the criticisms range that you had the Miiverse administration clamping down on people who may write things inappropriate, although sometimes that's sort of debatable, especially when the angry video game nerd adventure was released on both the Wii U and the 3DS, and people were taking snapshots of some of the comments that were made in the game, and they started to block people on that. Then they decided to delete people not putting pictures on it. There was some criticism about it, as some people sort of accused, Nintendo being sort of like bending over backwards for parents, though. Regardless, whether or not you liked it or loved it, though, it was a neat feature to have on both the 3DS and the Wii U. Unfortunately, for this week, as of today, Miiverse is no more. According to a post on IGN, and again, links will be in the description of this video, though, Nintendo has marked the end of its social network service Miiverse by releasing a college of user posts, which was created in handwritten message from the Miiverse users that includes submissions from everybody's message community. Nintendo launched Everybody Message Community last month as one final Miiverse community, allowing users to share their fond memories of the service before it closed. Miiverse was shut down on November 7th. Nintendo's social service debuted on Wii U in 2012. It expanded to the 3DS family of systems the following year. A closure affects a number of games, including titles like Mario Kart 8, Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, Xenoblade Chronicles X. Would love to see a port on that on the Nintendo Switch. I would like for that to happen. Push More World and more. Users were given the ability to request their Miiverse downloadable post histories. An email notification from Nintendo will arrive within the next few weeks with a URL address to download your posts if you request it to. In a way, it is somewhat sad that Miiverse is gone, though, because I really like the idea, as I mentioned, and it would have been great if they sort of improved upon on some areas, though. It would have been great, if you could have some gameplay footage that could be posted on there. I mean, they did that with Mario Kart 8, though, but again, it was limited, I think, to maybe just 1 minute, though, which someone was a bit of a disappointment, though, but it was a novel idea. It was a really neat novel idea, but I also think it was held back. Some of it was the limitations of both the systems, both the Wii U and the 3DS, and some of it was also some of Nintendo's ridiculous policies, though. They have opened up a little bit more, though. Now we could post pictures and so on Facebook and Twitter, and now they added video captioning, only that it's only up to 30 seconds, though. I do wish they really changed some of that and make it do it more than 30 seconds, though, but they were sorry. But it was an interesting idea. It was. It's just really sad that they had to shut it down, because I would have liked to see it come to the Switch, though. It would have been a really neat idea, though. So, but obviously they're moving on to that, so it's really sad that happened to Miiverse. I really wish it didn't, but obviously Nintendo's moving on from it, though, and with the Switch, they're moving on with it, though. So kudos to you, Miiverse. You were fun. People enjoyed using you. You had your controversy every now and then, but it was still a fun social platform, though. So sorry to see it had to go like this, but Nintendo's moving on. I can't argue with that. And last but not least, though, we have another thing that was shut down, and this is now going into the movie-related part. Whether you think you like this or not, it's up to your opinion. Earlier this year, it appears as though Universal Studios is completely done with the Dark Universe, or at the very least, this version of it, though. From several posts that has been reported, that is linked to a story written in the Hollywood Reporter, I'll have a link in the description. It basically says, it basically reports this, and I quote, "Just 5 months after Universal released the must-discuss cast photo promising a slew of movies starring the likes of Johnny Depp, Russell Crowe, Javier Bardem, Bardem. I apologize if I'm saying the name wrong. All draws on the likes of the Invisible Man, Wolfman, and Frankenstein in its stable of classic horror films. None of the projects appear to have pulse. Writer and producer Alex Kurtzman and Chris Morgan, who were hired as the Monster Universe architects, have departed the franchise, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. Kurtzman, whose deal with Universal lapsed in September, is focusing on television. He's an exclusive producer on CBS All Access Star Trek Discovery, and his overall deal with CBS involves more than a half a dozen shows. While Morgan has returned to the Fast and Furious franchise and is writing a spin-off for Dwayne Johnson and Jason Stamos. In early October, Universal pulled the plug on pre-production that had started in London for Bride of Frankenstein, which would have followed The Mummy as the second entry in the series, partially because execs felt that the script by David Koepp, Koepp, and overseen by director Bill Calden wasn't ready. Angelina Jolie had been courted for the lead, but now not attracted to it. I've heard that she's now gone to do Manifest 2, though. That's at least some of the reports saying. Insiders insist Calden, who did the Beauty and Beast movie, remains attached, but no release date has been set to resume work, and a February 14th, 2019 release has now been shelved. All of this comes in the wake of The Mummy's poor performance. Released in June, the Tom Cruise picture grossed a relatively partially $409 million worldwide on a budget of $125 million plus. Some insiders place it considerably higher. That doesn't include marketing costs of at least $100 million. Emblematic of the Dark Universe problem is the Tony office building on the Universal lot that was revamped as a considerable expense for the new venture. After being decked out in monster regalia, it is now sit mostly empty. Universal is exploring other options. One road involves offering the IPs to high-profile filmmakers or producers. Jason Blum from, I think, Blumhouse, which is known to do horror movies, has been mentioned, with the idea for the one-off movies not connected to a larger universe, and the studio could find a new architect who can overhaul the concept. According to Universal President of Production Peter Kramer, Kramer, he says, quote, "We learned many lessons throughout the creative process of the Dark Universe so far, and we are viewing these titles as filmmaking-driven vehicles, each with their own district vision. We are not rushing to meet a release date, and will move forward with these films when we feel they are the best version of themselves." The article concludes that, quote, "Is there hope for the Dark Universe? Yes," says ComScore box office analyst Paul, pointing to Marvel and Sony's Spider-Man Homecoming success after the franchise has lost its footing with 2014 Amazing Spider-Man 2. As a side note, I believe Alex Kurtzman was involved in Spider-Man 2, so there you go with that. And Marvel Thor Ragnarok, which had an opening weekend that outperformed the two previous Chris Hemsworth-led solo outing. "It's never too late to course correct," he says, "because with each movie you get another shot. There's no way to give up on this. This is Universal's legacy," he added, though. You know, in a way, I kind of feel sad for what happened to the Dark Universe, because when you kind of look at it, though, it had a really interesting idea that could have worked. It really could have worked if they executed it well. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem that was the case. And I mentioned this in my Mummy Demaster review, though. And it just feels like the blame for the failure, or at least the failure of the Mummy, really falls on really all three camps. Tom Cruise, who constantly was micromanaging the movie, though, and there were some allegations about that. Alex Kurtzman, who, from what we've also heard, had no idea what he was doing or what direction he wanted to go. And to some extent, and in my perspective, though, I think Universal Studio gets some of the blame, because this sounds like a case of they were putting the carriage before the horse kind of situation. They were doing all this stuff, not realizing that you have to put out a film out there that clicks with people before you can start even thinking about it, though. I mean, love them or hate them, you cannot deny the fact that Marvel has handled this very well. Because they put out Iron Man, they wanted to make sure it clicked with audiences first. I mean, they did a little bit of a nod and wink to a cinematic universe, but they made sure that Iron Man was Iron Man. That was an Iron Man movie, though, and it worked, and eventually they were able to build it up. Something that DC, I think, kind of struggled with Batman vs. Superman, as that felt more like world building rather than doing the actual, a movie in which Batman and Superman face each other. Again, it had some good concepts if it was executed well, and of course, the fallout of that led to the problems with Suicide Squad, which was unfortunate, though. And now, unfortunately, Universal is learning their lesson, just like with Warner Brothers, with basically this as well. And this is their second time trying to do it, though. As far as we know, I think it's obviously clear at least this version is dead. And I wouldn't be surprised if Aulx Studio was let go earlier on and that Universal decided they were not going to work with him anymore, or at least on this version, though. I will say, if they do try again, though, I mean, I seriously hope they learn their lesson. But if they do, this will be the third time they did it, though. And, well, given they didn't learn their lesson the first time, and they didn't learn it the second time, it's going to raise a question, will they learn their lesson the third time as well? Or fourth time. I think some would like to point to the Wolfman as an example, though. So, I mean, overall, it's sad to see this happen, though, because I'm not against the idea of a dark universe or Universal doing a cinematic universe with their classic monsters, though. But it clearly, if you're going to do it, you have to do it right, and you have to have the right people in it. And it appears as though Aulx Studio, Tom Cruise, were certainly not the right people for this project in any way, though. So I hope to see it come back again. I hope that Universal can learn their lesson, but as of right now, I just don't see that happening. I think most likely they'll hold off maybe a bit. They might try again, but I don't know if they will or not. And I can't see The Bride of Frankenstein seeing the light of day. It could happen, though, but I have a feeling they are going to pull the plug on that one, though. So, bottom line, it's sad what happened to the Dark Universe, but it's not surprising given how this ended, especially how the movie underperformed, and given The Bride of Frankenstein being put on hold for now and all that. So, not shocking right there. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours, though? What are your thoughts about after seeing the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Direct, though? Has that got you hyped for that game? Are you looking forward to getting that for the Nintendo Switch when it comes out December 1st? Or are you not hyped about it, though? Are you going to get the expansion pass that will come to it? Or are you going to hold off on getting that, though? And what are your thoughts about Doom, this coming out this week, that came out or at least came out this week, though, and next week's release of Skyrim and L.A. Noire? Are you looking forward to getting those games? Are you not looking forward to them? Do you think they will do well? Do you think there's a market for M-rated games on the Nintendo Switch? And what about the closure of both the Miiverse and Universal with their Dark Universe? Do you think, were you saddened to hear the news about Miiverse gone for good, though? Do you think that it was a good idea to kill it off? Or do you think they should have brought it to the Nintendo Switch? And do you have fond memories of using Miiverse? And what about Universal pretty much ending this form, at least of their Dark Universe? You think it's the right decision? Do you think it was not the right decision? Do you still wish Universal try the Dark Universe again, try their own cinematic universe, or do you think that it's best they just don't even bother anymore? That's it, done. Don't even bother with it at all. As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it, and I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. It's evening in Southern California, so I'll be getting ready for bed soon. So I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a excuse me, a good evening then.